turn.
It's Screaming Divas.
Screaming Divas.
Yes. And who did we interview today? Wow.
I was really excited to talk to her. It is Rachel Willis-Sørensen, soprano, diva, awesome sauce. So it was really fun to talk to her and get to know her better. And that's what this interview was. And it was so fun to talk to somebody else who is boisterous and opinionated, and I kind of I loved her. So,
and such a mentor to young artists over the pandemic, really
unbelievable.
What she did on social media, how the voice lessons that she's been giving, the information that she's been putting out there for young artists, and really making opera accessible and giving them the knowledge that we've all been given over the years. And she just said, here you go, people. Boom.
Boom.
So
here's some honest facts.
Yeah, and a great singer.
Yeah.
Really, a great technician, a great singer.
Yep.
I think everybody's going to love this one. So
cool.
Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride.
Yep, because it's a fun one.
All right, everybody, watch the clip, and we love you.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye. Best piece of advice you were ever given?
That people believe the story you're telling them about yourself, including you. You believe the story that you're telling people about yourself. So be careful with that story, because in the absence of a conscious thought about that story, the story is going to disparage you. We are taught to betray ourselves to benefit other people. We are taught this early, and we are taught it hard. And so you have to be careful and sort of shift the narrative into a more like self-loving one. And then, then your story will change, and people will therefore believe in you in a different way.
That's amazing. Love that.
Yeah.
I chose this red backdrop because it's kind of your color.
I love it.
Screaming Divas red.
Screaming Divas red.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't have a coffee cup. Do we have a coffee mug? Can I have a coffee mug too instead of my water cup? Then I can cheers you. I didn't know that was requisite.
It doesn't. We normally have drinks, but it's so early here, and we've been like, it's that time of year.
Yes.
You guys, you look so beautiful, both of you.
Thank you. Where are you?
Thank you. Okay, wait. I think this one's better. No? Is this good?
Oh, that's great.
This one? Or we also have this option. Thank you, Moreb. No, it clashes with my shirt. It clashes with my shirt.
We don't want to go with that. And there you go. So you have the red background and the black and white. So that's the Screaming Divas.
I'm so graphic.
Hello.
Hello, ladies.
Rachel Willis-Sørensen.
So nice to see you.
You too. Yay. Where are you?
I'm in Paris.
Oh, how fun.
For 5 seconds, and I'm on my way to Vienna, where I will be singing Rosalinde in Fledermaus, which I'm so excited and also vaguely terrified about, because it's like their piece, right? I mean, it's Vienna.
Right.
I don't know that there's a more Viennese piece, maybe Rosenkavalier, but to do it in Vienna. But it's like, I'm just psycho enough to accept that level of challenge and just like hope for the best. You know?
Yeah, but your Rosalinda is fabulous. When I was studying the role, I was watching you a lot, and I was like, holy crap, like you make this sound easy, and that is not easy. Nice. So your
German is impeccable. Like,
yeah.
Thank you. I do love German. It's a great language, and I do luckily speak German, so that is helpful.
Awesome.
But you know how the more you study a language, the more you kind of realize that you cannot attain native fluency, even if you really strong. It's like there's always going to be a certain flavor, like a seasoning that you're missing.
Yes.
Somehow.
Yes.
You know,
so
you sound very, very native to me when you speak.
Vielen Dank. Ich gebe mir Mühe. I struggle to think. Did you just say privyet?
No, I said bitte. Privyet. Tak dela. Хорошо. That's about, there's my Russian. There you go. Done with it.
Yeah.
Yay! So, oh my God, there's so much that we can talk
Yes,
about.
yes,
Scream Diva
yes.
stuff.
Well, first, let me
Pandemic.
just say what an honor it is to join you here. And I'm so excited. I'm such a Scream Divas fan. And yeah, I'm really happy to join you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming.
course.
Thanks for doing it.
Seriously, yeah. Like we just yak and yak. It's just us girls like going blah blah blah.
Yeah, well, that is right exactly up my very personal alley.
So
What a horrible expression, am I right? Anyway.
Pandemic.
I kind of love that. Sorry, that should be the hashtag of this video. Boom. Okay.
Let's talk about the pandemic. Because we, you know what? Listen, we all lived through it, and it seems like at least Vienna's open now. Thank
Knock
God.
on wood. Ooh, knock, knock, knock,
Yeah.
knock. Yeah.
So where were you holed up during the pandemic?
Let's see. Variously in. See, it's really weird because I kept going to projects only to have them be canceled later. So I actually think I lived in 8 different countries during this mad Corona time. But in the beginning, I was in Denmark, and then I was in the States for a while. I spent a lot of time in France. I was in Germany. I was in Switzerland. I was all over. I was all over the place. So I wasn't really holed up anywhere because I was very fortunate to have a few things filmed, or like I said, there was always this notion like, maybe we'll be able to open. So I kept going, and then we'd rehearse and then be like, no, never mind. So it was,
so you taught.
Yeah, that kept happening.
So you ended up teaching a lot during the pandemic.
Yes, I did. And actually, where I went to school, BYU, Brigham Young University in Utah, they didn't have a master's program in performance, but I loved my teacher, Daryl Babbage. So I decided to stay there for my master's, and it's in pedagogy. And so,
cool.
I mean, coincidentally, I have this master's in pedagogy, and then I really utilized it. I didn't realize that I was much of a teacher, to be honest, because I hadn't had a great deal of experience. But during the pandemic, then I started teaching. Well, it was funny because I thought, well, certainly I'm no expert, right? I mean, I think we all assume that. The voices, to me, at the time I thought of it, I conceptualized it as very mysterious. But then I started listening to people, and I thought, well, I mean, I have something to say. So I would just say it like, well, look, take it or leave it. This is what I think. But then I found, oh my gosh, I can really help people actually. And then I think something that I feel proud of being able to contribute personally was like a great deal of tenderness toward young singers, because I remember that vulnerability. Yes. And I remember like abusive relationships with some teachers. So I was making it like this personal crusade to help people believe in themselves, because I am decidedly of the belief that loving oneself is a much better path to better singing than berating oneself. So I tried to provide that to the people that I helped during the pandemic. And then I taught, like a few voice lessons a day, and I supported myself. I prevented bankruptcy during the the drought of income because all the performances were canceled. And it was really great. And I started something which I'm still doing, a weekly masterclass on Facebook. I put it behind a very, very limited paywall because I think that entitles me to be a little bit more candid, and I share all of the things, what it's like, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's called Real Opera Life School, and it's ongoing. I had, during the pandemic, I think we had 300 students, so it's not enormous, right? But now it's down to something like 70 diehard pupils that right. But we keep having various periods of open enrollment, and we get more students. But anyway, it's a lot of fun.
And you're going to keep doing that?
I think I'm going to keep doing it, because when I taught during the pandemic, there was just so much interest in lessons, and people, via the medium of Instagram, I just have collected like a little community, and a lot of people ask me for voice lessons, and I just don't have really the time to devote to it. It's a completely separate profession, really? And luckily now that some of the performances are back on, like I can't really dedicate myself to private teaching. I would want to say yes to everyone. It's sort of this like destructive people-pleasing impulse that I find myself to have, but I can't quite do that. So I also say very often, look, it costs the same, like if you could pay for 4 months of Real Opera Life School and then you would only get 1 hour of private lesson with me.
Oh.
And in 4 months of Real Opera Life School, you have access to 4 times a month, like 3 20-minute lessons. So if you sign up, even repeatedly, I mean, it's basically first come, first serve. So I try to encourage people, like, this is a much more economical way to access my opinion. If you want to, I will share it with you. So that is the answer to the people who ask for lessons. I just do Real Opera Life School.
Okay.
Cool. I love that. I want to check that out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love, oh, sorry. I just love real talk. I mean, because nobody's really sharing the real shit about what's going on. You know,
that's the feeling that I had, that there's so many difficult lessons that I learned, like, while doing the job. And I thought, if somebody had just mentioned this to me before in maybe a slightly more digestible way, then maybe it wasn't even mentioned to me, but I didn't understand certain things. So I try to tell them, this is what it's really like. And very often people ask me about being like a mother who sings and what that is like, and how do you maintain the work-life balance, whatever. I love that question so much. Mostly the answer is like, just really badly. That's how I do it. But no, but I tell them the truth.
One day at a time. That's what I always say to people. How do you manage it?
That's a good answer.
One day at a time.
Sometimes hourly, honestly. Yeah, hourly. Sometimes every 10 minutes, you're like, what's happening?
Check in every 10 minutes.
Where are the kids? I mean, you have 3 now, right?
I have like 150 children. Yeah, no, it's 3. It's 3.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so fertile.
That means you've practiced a lot too.
No, just the 3, but 2 of them are twins. So they came, it was a bargain, a 2 for 1. But
love it.
Let's see, what they have begun school in Denmark.
Okay.
This August they started school, and I it's funny, I remember like weeping a lot when the twins were born, because I knew eventually they're going to have to go to school, and I just had them with me on the road. And my daughter, who is 8, I until she was 8, I mean, I had one cancellation which enabled me to put her in a public school kindergarten for like 3 months at one point, and she loved it so much, and she talked about it so romantically, like, oh, Mrs. Bagley's kindergarten class. She just talked about it. And the kids are one day, the year after that, we were on the road again together, and she just would sometimes cry and say, oh, I miss my friends from kindergarten for 3 months. And I thought, okay, I can't, it's selfish of me to insist they travel with me all their lives. I know eventually they're going to have to go to school. So they started school in Denmark, which I'm lucky that it's in the EU, because I work more in Europe than the US. So then they're basically a 2-hour flight from anywhere I'm working.
Oh, amazing.
And I found I can sneak away sometimes for short periods, but I am actually, it turns out I am with them half the time, because they have a significant amount of time off of school.
Okay.
And then when I'm between engagements, I have them. So it's half the time. It's not as limited as I imagined it was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it has nevertheless been a painful transition. And but also they have never been happier. Like they are sad. They miss me more than when we were always together. But also I'm watching them developmentally. They are doing so much better than they were on the road with me. So I come to terms.
So is home Denmark then? Home is Denmark.
Yes, home is now Denmark. Yeah.
New York City. Welcome.
Oh, look at that.
I love it.
Oh. New York. I know. I'm sorry to say this. Somebody was telling me recently they visited New York, a Danish person, and their children got pinworms, and I was like, New York is such a cesspool. I'm sorry. It's so funny. That was their takeaway. That was their takeaway from New York City.
There you go.
But their kids got pinworms. That's hysterical. And
welcome to New York, and here's your pinworms.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Okay. So you've been giving, and please don't take this the wrong way.
Okay. Shit. Oh my God.
Let me just preface it. No, listen. Disclaimer. You've been giving a lot of advice about vocal technique.
Yeah.
Online.
Uh-huh.
Do you think vocal technique is one size fits all?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Because I know a lot of teachers teach the same technique
to everybody.
Oh, no.
Everybody.
No. I do find in teaching a variety of people that there are trends. There are like common common tensions, for example, like tongue tension is very prevalent among even, unfortunately, even among professional singers. So you can see it, like if someone's tongue is withdrawing in their throat, or, you know what I mean? Tongue tension is something, I think there are some sort of vaguely like one size fits most solutions. And you can always address things like support and breathing, but no, absolutely not. There is no silver bullet method for learning to sing. If there is, it's going to be some stupid thing like you figured it out yourself. Do you know what I mean? You heard the information from various sources, you assimilated it, and now you can apply it to your own throat. But no, I think it has to be highly individualized. And it really, I mean, that's another thing I noticed from teaching, because I mean, I taught probably, I should somewhere look it up and count it. It was hundreds of people during that pandemic year. And there are such a variety of ways of getting it slightly wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like slightly harder than necessary.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But mostly, so I find that the most effective voice teaching that I had as a student is sort of really brutal, actually, where the teacher just sort of like exaggerates the flaw and shows you this is what you're doing. I had this with Patricia McCaffrey in New York. I don't know if you know her. She can be really ruthless, but she's right. Like she's an exceptional technician. And she would say to me, do you want to do it like that? Is that what you want to do? And at first I was so taken aback. I was like, that is shockingly offensive. But she was right. I didn't want to do it like that. So hearing it that bad,
my teacher was the same way. She's like,
it's helpful.
Obviously you don't sound exactly like this, but this is what I'm hearing. I was like, do I just need to go now? Okay. Anyway, what is the thing that you're finding most common in young singers?
Just various laryngeal tones, high larynx. The thing is, I wonder if it's, I don't know. Mostly, okay. So I would say that in my generation, there was so much toxicity toward young singers that I just observed in some of my colleagues, like this sort of psychotic perfection mongering that was disempowering them to the point of not being able to do it at all. They couldn't freely express themselves because they were so worried about getting it wrong.
Okay.
And I don't know that that's the problem of young singers now, actually. I think that there's like such a different atmosphere. I'm not sure, but what I do notice is a lot of tongue tension. I think a lot of people sing with tongue tension. And also this, like, I wish I had a better word for it, but there's like a alveolar R, you know, there's whatever this muscle is. I conceptualize it as the top, like the soft palate collapsing in a shape like this. And so people are singing with this color. There's a lot of that. And a lot of
that's how young people speak nowadays.
They speak like this? I don't know.
I think they speak with a very unnaturally suppressed larynx.
Interesting.
And I don't know where that started, but the younger generation, like kids in their 20s, they have this very like pushed down,
really low. Yeah,
right?
That's interesting.
Because
there's sort of like a trend toward the androgynous. I would say like the. I mean, what am I? I don't know anything. I'm not studying sociology, but it seems to me it's true. There's like this trend among young people toward the more androgynous. Maybe that's
the vocal fry speaking.
That's what I hear. I hear that on podcasts a lot. I like to listen to podcasts, and a lot of times I'm hearing kind of talking.
Yeah.
And it was funny because one of them, I think I've gotten so used to listening to it that I sent a podcast to a friend, said, you have to listen to this. And he put it on. He's a voice teacher as well as a singer. And he was like, Carrie, I cannot listen to this. This is killing my throat. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Oh my God, I have to go back and listen to it. And he was right. But so I hear a lot of that. I don't hear what Sandra's talking about. I haven't heard that, but I hear a lot of the vocal fry
like
on the podcast.
Well,
okay. I really want to ask you this because I have admired this from afar. Not career stuff, yes, but this to me, because for me, before we started doing Screaming Divas, social media was something I really just absolutely hated, because nothing that I saw was real. It was all bullshit. And I didn't really want to be on it, but everybody was telling me I had to be on it for work and I have to promote myself, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, how many selfies do you need to see of my face? I just didn't understand. So anyway,
Carrie, we need to see infinite selfies of your face.
Infinite selfies.
Is the answer.
Infinite. So anyway, but through Screaming Divas, through Andrew Owsley of Unison, I have learned why you use this, but you have been so brilliant on social media this whole time. And I kind of wanted to know where your thought process is behind it, why you are so good at it, what makes you, because it seems like you love it. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I just wanted to ask you, where are you on social media and why do you think it's so important for our business?
Wow, there's a whole whack of questions.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm happy to talk about social media. I was told, similar to you, I had the notion, okay, somebody who is an important promoter in the opera world told me, you really need to do something on social media. You're ignoring it. Your presence is minimal. And I said, yeah, but no one really cares about what I'm doing and no one cares what I have to say. And I don't want to, burden people with a barrage of unnecessary posts they don't care about. And so he then introduced me to Olivia Kaler, who is my press agent. And I had employed somebody else to try to help me with press things, but if it was like a publicist, but it wasn't really necessary. I didn't have that much going on at the time. So it was like a lot of money. And I thought, I can't really afford this. But then Olivia, we had this meeting and she just started talking to me about how it's important and how people in the modern way of like conceptualizing fame, people want to have access to celebrity. And so it's not the same as 30 years ago. You can't be this mystery. You can't promote a mystery. People will care less than they do about a person that can actually see. Authenticity is like the
huge,
most important cultural phenomenon of now. So she convinced me and I just said, okay, well, like, can you help me? And so I employed her and I have been doing so ever since. It's like, how many years now? 3 years. November 1st, 2018 was like our first day working together. And mostly she just started encouraging me to make posts about singing. And I was like, no one cares about this. But then I was shocked. There was like a vacuum. I mean, I remember we made this video and she said, why don't you explain how you approach coloratura? And I'm like, no one cares about this. But I remember we made this video about fiordiligi and I showed them how I had broken it down, like basically step by step. And then it went, like immediately it just got a lot of attention and people were writing me about it and like, wow, this is so interesting. I never thought of it that way. And I thought, I'm really embarrassed to share this content because I'm not an expert, but I realized that's all anyone can do is just share their perspective. So at first I was making a lot of disclaimers, like, this is my opinion. And now basically I'm like, look, and that's inherent, everyone that's following, this is the beautiful thing. In the previous model, the social media model was Facebook, right? So you had to mutually add one another in order to have access to the content. Right. So then it's a bit awkward because you're friends with all your high school friends or with all your high school co-students and everyone who ever met you one time in a doctor's office or whatever, and they don't care about singing. But Instagram is different. You follow the people whose content you want to see. So people are curating their own feed. They're collecting. I don't know that everyone conceptualized it that way, but that is basically the idea, that you make a page and you post content and people have the choice to see it or not. So you're allowed to post as much, as little as you want. But because other people control whether or not they see you. So then I found, though, all of these people pouring into the inbox. Initially, I had to spend a little bit of time every day. I was answering personally all of the messages and I was really touched. There were so many people that were hungry for this information. I suddenly thought, actually, like we said before, there is information that I wasn't given as a young singer, and I want to help. I want to prevent people from having those like emotional breakdowns that I found to be really necessary when I was entering the business, all these difficulties. I thought if I had been better prepared, if there had been someone telling me that I had value as a person, I think it would have been really helpful. So I try to provide that. And then it has been mostly so positive. And I have found a community of like-minded individuals, and that's been really lovely. Awesome. The downside, I would say, is like being a woman on the internet means you attract like some freaky attention. And so I sort of had to quit privately answering the majority of the messages.
Yeah. You're pretty. Okay. You're pretty. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I'm not. I don't think of myself that way at all. And then you promote yourself and it sort of looks like, oh, look at me. That's not how anyway. So
it's hard to find that balance, isn't it? It's hard to find the balance between look at me, and actually this is useful information. And I find that's always my dilemma with social media is it me just promoting me, or is it me being genuine and sincere and honest? And that's, I always ask that question right before I post something. Is this actually honest and sincere? And that's the question that's the only thing now that I do. Is it me? Is this how I want people to see me? And, 10 years from now, will I be embarrassed that I put this up?
I think that's a really good point. There are different kinds of content that you are going to promote, right? And some of it will be basically shameless self-promotion. This is a picture of me in a costume, but also I can consider that tangentially educational. Like, this is what it is like to be an opera singer. So people who are interested in that information, again, they are curating their own feed. So if they want to see it, they can see it. Mm-hmm. But I want the bulk of my content to add value. So that's the question that I ask. Like, does this add value? If I, as a young singer, were watching this, like, what would it mean to me? And or very often I think of myself as like a comedian. So I'm like, oh, let's make them laugh. I just want to contribute content in some way that is meaningful. So, but I think, like, this is a picture of me in my underwear. Like, I don't love that kind of social media. I don't consider it very, like, meaningful. But on the other hand, maybe I just don't look good enough in my underwear. What if I weighed like 100 pounds, maybe I would do it too. Who knows? Maybe I would feel excessively driven by external validation. I don't know, like, whatever it is that causes some people to really do that. And it really works for them. You can make a whole living on being a super attractive person on Instagram. Like, that's a job.
Reels and all that. I mean, do you think that it has increased your value in our business by being on social media?
That's a good question.
I would say that I am treated differently by the companies that employ me since being more active on social media than I was before. Okay. But simultaneously, I switched management and started singing different repertoire. I'm not sure. Is this a chicken or the egg kind of situation?
Okay.
But I do notice, so the different people that I spoke to about publicity for opera singers, they said, like, the best thing you can do for yourself is when you go to a company, meet the people in the press department. Just go in and say, I'm here, I'm doing this show, I would like to be involved in the publicity. If you have something come in, like, please consider me. And I didn't really do that, but I think that's pretty good advice. Generally, you have to consider, what is the value of marketing? I've been having this sort of debate with a friend who says he does not believe in marketing. He's like, marketing is gross. The quality of content is drastically more important than the marketing style. But I maintain something can be really great, but if no one knows about it, you're not going to have access to it. That publicity provides access. Mm-hmm. So yes, you have to ensure that your product is of a quality. You cannot compromise the quality of your product. But if it's not marketed, nobody is going to get it. You know what I mean? It's going to you can be really high quality in a vacuum. And if no one knows about it, then what good does it do, really?
Yeah. But that's trying to get stuff out there, but quality content out there. And, it's always... Now I want to backtrack. You said something there about changing management and changing repertoire. That, to us, is very interesting, because you were singing Wagner, Strauss, a lot of the German stuff. And now you've really kind of gone backwards in repertoire in a way, like Faust, and you did an amazing Vep. You did the French version of Vep Sicilienne. And I mean, are you even going into some of the Bel Canto stuff?
I really want to. I think I have one. I mean, I've been in like hot pursuit of like Maria Stuarda for a while. I would die to sing that, and also Anna Bolena, but I kind of want to do it in that order. Like Maria Stuarda is a good starting point. I sang a little bit pieces. I did a big duet from Anna Bolena and the duet from Norma, and I feel I'm surprised. I'm having like palpitations talking to you about that, because you are the Empress, and like thank you for all that you've given us. I love you so much.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
No, but seriously, how does one? You're what, 37 years old?
Yes. Yes, I am. Thank you for pointing it out.
I know. Sorry. Well, hey, I'm 52, so. But
look at you. Okay. Anyway,
I know. Well, but it's to sing that kind of repertoire so early, and then to say, wait, maybe I'm not ready, or wait, maybe my voice has changed, or wait, I really want to sing this stuff too. What was the path?
So initially I was told a lot, like, you should sing Verdi. Actually, this is kind of funny. I mean, you hear so many opinions, right, in this business, and people all love to compare you to someone. And the problem is I'm 5'11", and like, I've never been like really thin. I mean, there was a time when I went for 9 months only eating 800 calories a day, and I lost like a ton of weight. Oh, shock. And none of them were carbs. But I lost my ability to sing loud in the top, and I was sort of like this weird subdued version of myself that I realized I can't keep this up. And also, by the way, that became like almost like an addiction, right? I mean, I was like, I have to keep going. I was insatiable about weight loss for this very bizarre brief period of my adulthood. But anyway, before I was quite heavy, and I think people very often looking at me would decide, you're going to sing heavy Germanic repertoire, because if you look at you, you are a Valkyrie. And then I would sing, and I think they're like, sure, it's loud enough. You know, it's like it's a loud enough instrument. But I found, so actually in the beginning, I did almost exclusively Mozart. I mean, for a couple of years, I was just singing like the Countess, Fiordiligi, Donnanna. I did these roles, and I always had a weird experience with them. Like, my voice was slightly disproportionately large compared to the rest of the cast, maybe. So the reviews would be mixed depending on the theater. Like in Vienna, when I sang here, the reviews were literally like, the voice is slightly too large, which I'm going, are you complaining that you could hear me? Is that your problem? Don't read reviews, by the way, right? I mean, you guys already know this probably. Right. Don't read reviews. It's just somebody's opinion. You can't, it doesn't help.
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
Everybody has one.
Yep.
And some of them smell so bad, and some of them are bleached, and some of them. Oh, sorry, that's fair.
Oh, that's terrible.
So we digress. But so you were singing this repertoire, and you said, was it you or was it your teacher?
Mozart.
Yeah,
I was singing Mozart, and then like what happened was I began the Young Artist Program in Houston, and they needed someone to cover Elsa and Lohengrin. So this is my first foray into Wagner. I was 24, 25, and I was just cover. But it was Adrienne Pachanka, and she had like something happened to her. She was injured, so she had to cancel all the rehearsals. So I rehearsed it. I even got to sing it with the orchestra. Cool. And it was such an incredible experience. Simon O'Neill was Lohengrin. I mean, like this massive instrument. I just remember, and Christine Goerke, was Ortrud. I mean, I was in heaven. It was such a cool experience. And I remember in the Sitzprobe sitting there in the front row, and the whole men's chorus was behind me, and they sang they sang a men's chorus moment that's really, really bombastic with all the chorus playing. Yeah. And I was like, wow, what a dream. But so I started singing the aria in auditions because I had this really significant experience with it. So I felt connected to it emotionally in a bigger way than maybe some of the other pieces I was singing. And so then people heard that, and they're like, wow, that people are just they don't like diversity. It's harder for them. They want to put you in a little tiny box. Yeah. So yeah, they want you a pigeonhole to go to fit into a little pigeonhole. So I just started singing, and my big audition team was usually, I would sing Elsa, and they would ask for Fiordiligi, and people were always like, wow, that's a weird combination. Like those are really diverse. And I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I like singing both of them. So they're on there, right? And this is part of the problem with me, is that I've always loved an enormous variety of repertoire. And I believe that diversity of repertoire can, if attended with great care, actually improve the longevity and health of the human instrument. So I attempted to promote myself, so to speak, in a wide variety of ways initially. But then once it started going, people were like, nope, you only do one thing.
Yeah.
You're going to sing Mozart, Strauss, Wagner. That's it. That's what you are. And I remember telling my manager, like, I would love though to sing Verdi. Like, could we possibly? Because I love Verdi. I just loved it. I mean, it resonated so deeply within me. And I remember just yearning to sing Verdi specifically, and being told, well, maybe someday once you establish yourself as a Wagnerian, then maybe you can, like, as a vanity project, be offered a Verdi heroine, like, just to make you feel better, and no one will really come and no one will see it. But
that
can
seems
be
backwards to me. That just seems,
yeah, it's really, I think he was just trying to sort of talk me out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I thought, okay, I guess. And then also I was told repeatedly that at the time there weren't a lot of people singing this, like, German romantic, sort of like Jugendlich dramatisch Fach, that there was sort of a vacuum, so I could fill it. It was an easy career. Like, there's going to be rep for you if you make these choices. So I was going down this path, but I just started noticing more and more, like, I'm in a cast of these enormous voices, and I don't think I'm that loud. I don't think that I don't think the best thing that I have to offer is, like, size of instrument. And I started sort of suffering in the high, like, I couldn't sing as well in the high. So there was this concern that I had. And also the rep was just getting every season, like, heavier and heavier. I had Senta like 4 times in the books, and, like, Sieglinde, and people had been offering me Senta and Sieglinde from the very beginning. And it's like, you hear, don't accept rep that is too big. You hear this as a young singer, but then when it happens, it's so seductive. The idea of, I'm going to get a paycheck, you know,
Yes.
I'm going to get to work, I'm going to be a singer. And so you end up talking yourself into it. But then I did actually a Lohengrin. And this is the other thing. I didn't actually let go of all the German romantic stuff. I'm still singing Rosenkavalier. I'm singing Elsa in Lohengrin. I sing Elisabeth Tannhäuser, Eva Meistersinger von Nürnberg. So basically the blonde Wagner, but I have basically left those S's, Senta, Sieglinde, I left them alone. I don't think that, at least for now, I don't think that's the best choice for me vocally. But I did Lohengrin, ironically, given the outcome, with Brandon Jovanovic. He was Lohengrin, and he's amazing. Yes. Huge, right? I mean, don't you love him? He's the best colleague in the planet.
I did Pete John with him. He is amazing as German.
Yeah, he's so talented. He's so kind. He's like a very, very nice, good, great, talented colleague. But anyway, so we were working together, and Alan Green represented him in Europe. So Alan came to the show and coincidentally went to the same restaurant after the performance. And he said, you should be singing Verdi. That was his, I hear in you so much Verdi. And I was like, oh, I want to so bad. Then we started talking a few months later. At this point, I also had some sort of problems, like a 5-month income gap. And I was the sole breadwinner in a family of 5. So I was like, can I sing Beethoven's 9th Symphony in Pumpkin Falls, Iowa, please? Like, anything, can you please help me to pay for the groceries? And
it's
so I was
real.
concerned.
I mean, that's a real thing too. And especially now.
Oh my gosh. Well, if only I had known that I could teach voice lessons. But I mean, I'm not at all sorry with how the way things turned out. But I had already spoken to my management and said, I'm really sorry. I need to have the feeling that, so I think there are different management styles, and it just wasn't like a super great fit for me before. But what I also realized is that they just never were that enthusiastic about me. You know what I mean? That maybe most important in choice of manager is their level of belief in you. Yeah. And the ones that I had were just, they were kind of like, she's fine, you know, she's fine, it's fine. That's not enough. You need to believe that they're going into the room saying, have I got a voice for you? You know what I mean? Yeah, like, totally. That's what you need. So I found that luckily in Alan Green. By the time we had met, I had already been working for a while, but now I'm with Alan and everything changed. And he did this massive push in the business to change my rep, which is funny because, like I said, I don't necessarily need to abandon the German romantic rep. And I am this season, for example, I sang like in German, Elias, which is sort of more in that old vein. And I'm doing Lohengrin again. And I sing Rosenkavalier, but sorry, mostly my repertoire is really lyrical now. Yeah, like Faust. I did Violetta, which was a dream come true.
I know.
I'm doing it again next season.
What else? What new things do you have coming up that we can look forward to? You don't have to say where, but roles.
Yeah, right. Well, I think, see, and this is the other thing, like how much can you rely on it, right? Because I'm tentative now that COVID happened and everything got canceled, but I should do Don Carlos a couple of times.
Yay.
And Traviata, Trovatore again.
Cool.
Vespri Siciliani in Italian now. And what else is new?
Louisa Miller, do you have any of those?
No, but I want to.
I could see that.
Totally. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. And
That's
any Puccini?
nice.
Any of the Puccini stuff besides Wagner?
It's funny because, okay, the first role I ever sang was Musetta. And I found that really, really fun. And then somehow when I was fest in Dresden, they let me do Mimi. And I was always like, this is a joke, La Piccina. I am La Piccione. Like I am so tall. It's just weird casting choice was being so tall. Although apparently historically there have been a slew of tall Mimis. But they call her La Piccina, like her defining characteristic is that she is small. So I always feel a bit fraudulent singing that role. But at the same time, I really feel for the character. I think she's very sort of, she's this poet. I like her. I like Mimi. So I'm singing Mimi some more, but I think that's it as far as Puccini in the books. I did Suor Angelica once in school and I really loved it. I would love to give that another
I could see
try.
that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I could totally see that. No, I could see the Bel Canto stuff as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to sing. I want to do that eventually. Those queens like you did. Oh my gosh, Sandra. I saw that in Chicago and it was friggin' fantastic.
Brilliant.
Do you, because you seem to be so deeply entrenched in technique, you know, like technique is your thing, which is a great thing.
It's so funny. I'm glad I have pulled the wool all the way over the line.
How much do you think about the character as well? Like when you're on stage, do you know what I mean? Like, is it more about the singing for you, or is it more about the acting, or is it even? Both.
It is absolutely, I probably shouldn't admit this, but I think it is only about the acting. Barring the few moments where your body, okay, if you work on technique long enough, it should become habitual to the point where you don't actually have to give it a lot of thought, is my opinion. Occasionally, you're going to come up across a passage that requires you to divert a little bit of your focus toward the technique.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason I talk so much about technique is to help young singers. I do not tend to think about technique when I am performing. I only think about text. I only think about trying to say text as if I were the first person saying it. So like, what would the emotional scenario be wherein I would say these words? Then I try to imagine that. I try to feel with the character, like, where are we in the world that we're saying these things? Like, what part of my personal experience can I draw upon?
Sure.
To make this as improvisational seeming and as naturalistic as possible. Those are my highest, I would say my highest artistic aspirations in a performance setting.
Love it.
So new productions you're okay with, like modern takes on things, or are you more?
No, yes and no. I think I'm a bit, okay, how do I put this? The best directors that I've worked with love how much I care about it and are interested in making a product that works for everyone and like that feels honest. The worst directors I've worked with are psychotic egomaniacs that only care about their disgusting vision that's about destroying the piece for the sake of self-aggrandizement. And I find that offensive in the extreme. I find that recently I did a production that I didn't believe in, and I'm still suffering. I think that like it costs so much more to the singer than anyone talks about, because you're basically told how lucky you are to have a job. But if you care about what you're doing and you're moved by these masterworks, and then they're given into the hands of someone who utterly disrespects them and dances on the corpse of the composer, I think that the singer is the one who suffers most, even more than the poor audience who is lured into the theater under the false pretense of the title of the opera and then given toilets or you know, people snorting cocaine on
Puppets.
dead horses or
Puppets.
Yeah, I think that something really fundamentally needs to shift in the opera profession. People talk a lot about like, oh, it's in decline and how do we save it? And so in my opinion, these modern productions, which are attempting to solve the problems of opera, they are the problem. I mean, let's say that like lazy, unprepared singers who aren't communicating, that is bad. That is not desirable. Nobody wants to see that. But the answer is not to superimpose a different story onto these masterpieces. That is not the answer. In my opinion, the answer is to come from the inside of the piece, maybe more the style of somebody like David McVicker, who knows the text so well that he is interested in promoting the truth of the characters, the truth, the humanity of the experience of the story, rather than like, I had this idea that we would have some people being tortured and some girls getting raped and there's gonna be a lot of nudity and we're gonna pay these dancers to show their boobs and that'll be, it's disgusting. It's stupid in the extreme. It is, I'm sorry, I can't believe I'm this impassioned. I should really tone it down. But we are the ones that suffer. We are the ones that are made to endure. And honestly, like it is demoralizing to me to be in a production where I studied the text, I care about it. I have made myself to care about this character. And then I'm told, I know you thought she was a person, but let's make her a necrophiliac or a puppet. I know this is a literal experience you had. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you're able to like talk about that.
Oh, I'm still traumatized about it. Carrie knows that, right?
And how did you, and this is the thing, you were talked into that. You were convinced by a series of people that was like the only way to do it. And I'm sure I'm sorry, I don't know you. I imagined this, that you wanted to walk away from that. What made you do it in the end? How did they convince you?
Well, there was a small little thing called a pandemic going on.
So you, okay.
And I had a mortgage to pay. You know, we all have to make some sacrifices in life. Everybody had to during the pandemic. And I mean, Jonas and I, we were both really not super happy with the production. Everybody knew that. But I think that there was some compromises made. And I think that having that dialogue with somebody, with a director who is so passionate about their idea, and sometimes they don't
write your own opera. Write your own opera. You know what I mean?
Right. And
you're so smart. Go ahead and write your own opera. Congratulations. Anyway.
And
sorry.
So that's it. And so we had to have this. It was basically like a come to Jesus moment, and we had to just say, right, okay, this isn't working for me. And I think that this is where being a professional comes in so much in this profession. We as singers also need to express our feelings and how we're feeling about a production and say, no, this doesn't work for me. I can't do that. I know that you're very passionate about it, but I'm passionate about this. So where are we going to meet in the middle? Or are we going to meet in the middle? Or if we can't meet in the middle, I'm sorry, I'm not the person for you.
I'm going to have to walk away from this.
And I'm going to have to walk away. And I think we had that come to Jesus moment. But it involved communicating. And I think we as singers, not only do we communicate with our voices on stage, but I think we have to communicate with our voices off stage, with the public, with the director, with a conductor. And I think a lot of singers nowadays are afraid to do that. But we have an opinion and we know what's going to work for us and what's not going to work for us. And I think that, Carrie, do you agree?
I totally agree. I think, you just made me think of the whole monitor situation in Seattle. And I had asked for a week, like nicely.
Carrie just sang La Boheme in Seattle.
And it was, how, is there any way that we can turn these down? Who is in charge of this? How can I ask you, can you only do it in this section so I'm not affecting my other colleagues? Can you just do it in these moments? I've talked with these colleagues, can we have it, blah, blah, blah. And you think you're doing everything the right way and how to ask and be polite and courteous and kind, like I would want to be treated. And then by the end of the week, and you walk out on your first performance that you haven't sung in 18 months, and you can barely hear your colleagues on stage because the monitors are so loud. And at that point I was like, I don't really know what else to do. And in the intermission, I am like in tears because, you know, you're, oh my God, why am I getting emotional?
I'm sorry, Karen.
It was a traumatic.
Yeah,
it was
because
really traumatic.
Yeah, because it's the first time you're back on stage after all this time, and you're just like, why is this fucking so hard? This is just monitors. And because you're emotional about it, then all of a sudden you're a troublemaker, or you're a problem, or, oh, it's a diva thing, or it's a whatever. And you're just like, I'm just trying to do my fucking job, people. Can you please help me? And I think that that's part of the business that we don't talk about. You know what I mean? Like, can I put this conversation out online, or will Seattle Opera never hire me again because I'm talking about it, and it was an emotional experience and I was in tears. And honestly, I didn't even say anything to anybody. The conductor came in my dressing room to say, you sounded glorious in Act 1. And he was like, oh my God, what's the matter? And I'm like, it's fine. I'm fine. I can handle it. And he was like, you just tell me what's wrong. And I'm like, the monitors. How many times do I have to ask for the monitors to be turned down?
Oh,
I know.
And it's so stupid.
Can I just say, can I just say that sensitivity is exactly what makes you a compelling performer? So it is screwed up that you would think to conceal it in order to preserve your job, because it is an asset. It is not a detriment to Seattle Opera that you are sensitive about the monitors. It is their asset. It improved the quality of your work. So like, I applaud you that you cried over the monitors. You care about your work. You care about providing a quality product. And that should be the only thing that they care about.
And young singers need to know this too, right? If there is something that as a young singer that you're not comfortable with, that you feel someone's not hearing what you're saying, then you have to learn to communicate better. I'm sorry.
And sometimes I feel like you get pushed to the edge. You try so hard to communicate and because like what you said, the end product is what we all really care the most about. I want to keep having people come back to the theater because the experience that they had while my Heine was on stage was one that they want to experience again. Does that make sense? Like that they want to come back to the opera house and buy another $200 ticket. So no, I just think sometimes it's so hard to communicate, and sometimes you're pushed to the edge, like in situations like with Sandra, and to actually have to say, I want to walk away because this is not working is ridiculous, especially during the midst of what we just all lived through. So
yeah, it's horrible.
This is the thing that I have to say, in every event where it has come that far for me, which is super seldom, and where I have said like, okay, if that's what you want, then we're gonna have to part ways, the theater has 100% of the time sided with me. 100% of the time, that people believe the story you tell them about yourself. So if the story you tell them about yourself is, I'm so accommodating, I really am happy to do whatever anyone else wants, then also what you're saying is, I'm a little bit less important than everyone else in the room. So I completely relate to this like fear of being too much. But think about it in the long, like the whole experience of your life, you've probably been a little bit disproportionately large. That's why you're an opera singer, right? Like, so probably this is like old, you're triggered by the monitors and you're freaked out to make yourself a problem because you were like, arguably, I don't know you personally well enough to say, but I bet your whole life, you're probably told you were too loud, right? And like too much.
Yeah.
But I think we all have this old, deep trauma. The story that we tell ourselves is like, there's not room for me and my needs. But maybe we should change the narrative. And that's a part of becoming a better communicator. Like Sandra said, if you are able to say, oh, wow, this circumstance is preventing me from being able to meet my needs artistically. Yeah. And I understand you have your own thing going on, like whoever you have to ask, the stage manager. Thank you, first of all, so much for the work that you're doing, that we're doing together to accomplish this. I really need some help. Is there any way that you could, you know what I mean? There's like a way of saying it. I think it's really important. In my opinion and experience, it is vital to avoid hierarchical thinking. Yes. That too many singers, I have observed singers who perceive themselves to be very high in the hierarchy. So they're always trying to enforce it by treating people like top down. They go up there like, look at you, I'm so much more important. Or singers who self-betray and go down up, like, oh, thank you so much for your time. I'm so grateful to be here. Oh my gosh, I know there's thousands of singers waiting to replace me. But really, we need to avoid this hierarchy, live independent of it, where we say, we're all in this room together trying to create something wonderful for the benefit of the audience. How can we do that together?
Totally.
And I think that even in the context of a difficult production, if you do that, if you speak straight to the director, if you say, I'm willing to, this is the other thing I've noticed. When they will modify something for you, you must first try it.
Always.
So an idea that is terrible.
3 tries. I always give it 3 tries.
3! Sandra, you are generosity yourself. I give it 3.
But you know what? Then the 3rd try, if it doesn't work, I'm sorry. I tried it.
We're done.
3 times.
That's it. That's all she wrote.
Mic drop.
Bye.
That is a bridge too far. Thank you so much.
Oh my God.
But listen, I think a lot of singers are afraid to speak up and say, this isn't working for me. And they don't know. Then a director or a conductor or whoever, a stage manager, won't know that you're having an issue. And so then we internalize it all and we just get tighter and tighter and tighter. And what do we use to, sing? And then we're tight here. So it ruins our final product. It ruins the production and it just makes it worse for everybody. So you know what?
Nobody wins.
Nobody wins.
Let people know you're not offending anyone. Honestly, it's how you do it, not if you do it.
How do you?
Are you a tight corset girl or are you a loose corset girl?
Tight. I'm psycho. Let's be honest. I say that I like it tight to have something to push against, like a pojo, right? But the truth is I'm incredibly insecure about my appearance.
Somebody who's actually honest. There you go.
Oh, but no, be like, all right. I mean, I say, it's like those people who say, the Met is such a great acoustic. Like, it's so easy to sing the Met. It's so easy. It's like it's like singing in the bathroom. Oh, the acoustic are great. I'm like, okay, thanks, humble brag. You know what I mean? So that's basically for me the same as saying the corset, I just need to have something to press against, where the truth is, like, everyone looks better with a really tight corset, is my horrible vain opinion. No pain for beauty.
No, I love it. I mean, I actually have a waist underneath the boobage. So can you just accent that? I mean, why does it all have to be one size from the boobs down? Because I'm not built like that. I mean, so can you just make this work to fit me? But no, I've only had two in my whole career, two women that understood what to do with the lines, the pins, the darts, the corsets, the boning within a costume is sometimes actually better than a corset. It makes you look more your size, and with the corset adds that extra bulk to it. So
Costume fittings for Carrie are traumatic.
I always cry.
So many phone calls or photos. Carrie, you'll send me a photo. Really?
Look at this. Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? I mean,
that is so funny. I'm so glad I'm not the only one. I hate a costume fitting day. I hate it. And this is something I tell Real Opera Life School. On a costume fitting day, I try to always dress like really well and have like really good makeup, really good hair, because I want to show up telling them, like, it is possible for me to look good. Okay, please help. Do not believe that the standard is low because I'm not a standard size. Okay, you need to do me a favor. But I also had the experience once. I was asked to bring my own costume, like it was for a sort of semi-staged concert thing, and they wanted costumes. I had something made to measure, because it was really weird specific request. Like, they wanted a white cotton wedding dress. Yeah, because everyone's wedding dress is cotton. But anyway, okay. So I had one made. I did. And I showed up, and with my dress, I had spent my money on it. Even though the fee was low, I was like, I'm not having this conversation. I'm going to just bring my own dress and not be a problem, because I'm too much, right?
You are never too much. We are never, no one is ever too much.
Thank you. There's a place for us. There's a place for us. Opera's the place for us.
Yay!
But anyway, I showed up, I have to finish this dumb story really quick. I showed up with my cotton dress, and the director, or no, not the director, they had someone responsible for costuming. And she said, I said, look, I brought my own dress. And she said, well, to be fair, you're not exactly standard sized. And I was like, really? I did your job. So you didn't have to. And you're still going to insult me about, I couldn't believe it. I was like, thank you. I'm, cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I feel you. That's such a hard thing.
It is a hard thing. Totally.
Well, let's do rapid fire. We want to do our quick, funny stuff. And then we'll let you go back to live.
What I was doing.
So, ready for it? Ready, rapid fire.
I'm ready.
Do you have a motto that you live by?
A motto that I live by.
Or a mantra?
What is for me cannot pass me. What is meant for me arrives. And I love you. I appreciate you. I'm sorry. What are the whole thing? Oh, sorry. There's this whole little thing. I haven't done it for a while, but I should pick it up again. I say to myself, I imagine all my cells saying to me, or me saying to all my cells, I love you. I appreciate you. I forgive you. I love you. I appreciate you. I forgive you. And there's one more that I can't remember. But anyway, that's good. That's pretty good.
That's beautiful.
I love that.
I think everybody should do that, not just performers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yay.
What is the one thing that you've tried that you'll never do again?
Ice skating.
Like, no.
What is the strangest rumor you have ever heard about yourself?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That I have horns.
What? Do you have horns?
That I have horns. I mean, I'm sorry, this was very old, but when I was 6 on the playground, someone found out I was Mormon and asked me if I had horns.
And that has stuck with you all these years. That's hilarious.
So I'm sorry, as far as rumors go, that would be that's the weirdest that I've heard.
Okay.
That is quite weird.
Yeah.
That is very weird.
If you could choose any magical power, what would it be?
Oh, maybe mind reading.
Ooh, that's a good one.
What is
your
your
be able to like understand people immediately? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just see and understand what they need and like where they are.
What's the truth?
Yeah.
No bullshit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Best piece of advice you were ever given?
That people believe the story you're telling them about yourself. Including you. You believe the story that you're telling people about yourself. So be careful with that story, because in the absence of a conscious thought about that story, the story is going to disparage you. We are taught to betray ourselves to benefit other people. We are taught this early, and we are taught it hard. And so you have to be careful and sort of shift the narrative into a more like self-loving one. And then, then your story will change, and people will therefore believe in you in a different way.
That's amazing. Love that.
Yeah. Most beloved thing that you own?
That I own? Oh, I don't put a great deal of value into personal possessions, to be honest. I don't know. Is there something? Because I'm living out of a suitcase, right? What's the most beloved thing that I own?
Your suitcase.
My phone. I love my phone. I can connect to all the people I love with my phone. It's very important.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. We asked this of everyone. What is your favorite cuss word in any language?
Scheisse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Scheisse. That's my favorite.
Putain. No. I think Scheisse is probably. Sorry. That prostitute one is pretty bad in Francais.
Okay. And our last question we always ask,
go ahead.
If heaven exists, what do you want to hear God say as you walk through the pearly gates?
Welcome home.
Cool.
Very nice.
How about you? Do you have an answer to that question? Have you ever answered this question before? I don't think I've seen you answer that on Screaming Divas. You guys?
I think Carrie and I probably have the same response. Well, we have two responses. The buffet's over there, and it's no calories. And number 2, here's your dad.
Oh, your dad is gonna be there.
Yeah,
And
That's
right.
lovely. That's lovely.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I've always, a dear friend of mine, Richard Cox, has always said, I know I'm going to get into heaven, but I'm going to be in the back by the buffet table. So that's, I want to be there with him.
I think we're going to be in the rowdy crowd section.
Yeah.
It's a rowdy cousin. Yeah, that's so interesting. I don't know, because I feel like, so heaven, what is heaven? I mean, the way that we conceptualize, I don't know, like we're going to transcend this mortal coil. There's going to be, I don't know what it's going to be like, but I think, yeah, welcome home. I think the idea that we all belong together in this sort of spiritual realm is really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
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 I think that's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure.
It totally has been. Thank you so much.
Always great talking with you, and enjoy your time in Paris and Vienna.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Merci
all the
beaucoup.
toys. Yeah. It's going to be
all
brilliant.
The toys.
All the toys. Take care, and we will see you hopefully in person soon.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
Bye.